From the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
With over 20 years of experience in the industry, S3M Security specializes in advanced network security products and solutions, operating across the globe. S3M Security is proud to introduce the world's first hybrid NAC, offering both agent and agentless structures. S3M innovative modules ensure your internal users are securely authorized, your guests have a secure hotspot, and your endpoints are the safest with the hybrid NAC technology. MSSP NAC is a powerful solution that enables managed security service providers to protect their clients' networks from unauthorized access and potential threats. With MSSP NAC, you can take control of your network security and safeguard your business-critical data. Edgebox is a state-of-art technology, and S3M is offering the world's first MSSP NAC approach with it. And here's the best part. They provide a free version for up to 50 users. Visit s3msecurity.com today and take the first step towards advanced network security.
Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased to have with me someone who's expert in business, in AI, in automation. I have with me today Jeanette Stein. She's joining me from Michigan in the US. Jeanette, thank you very much for being with me on the show today. Can you just introduce yourself to the audience and what you are up to?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Jeanette Stein, and as you mentioned, I love that all the things AI and all the opportunities it gives me. How I got here is I started my career as a high school teacher and then needed some more freedom. So I built my own business selling algebra lesson plans and really learned a ton about digital marketing and was able to do that and build my own business. And then from there, people see your success and they're like, hey, how'd you do it? So I became a business coach, which is, I love
Nice.
working with people who are creative and excited and have something to offer the world. So that was really fun. But what I ran into was the same issue over and over again is I don't have enough time. I know it works, whether, and depending on their niche and what they're good at and what their personality is, maybe it's blogging or podcasting like you, it's how do I do more of what works? And so I've always been I was a math teacher. I'm a numbers and a process person, creating systems for my clients. But now in the last 9 months, now that AI is available to everybody and accessible for free, it's just been amazing how that complements the time, how it has opened up time for owners and entrepreneurs to be more creative and actually solve the problems they wanted to solve, not be fussing with creating blog posts or writing show notes or, all of the things that have to get done instead of what you want to be doing, which is probably helping people. So now I work, I do things like workshops, showing people how to, maybe it's create those social media posts faster,
Mhm.
or write the blog posts faster. Those kind of workshops that we can get one thing done in usually 90 minutes, all the way up to like VIP days where I come and look over your shoulder, see what could be automated, how we can do this so we can save you really substantial amount of hours per week, to allow you that space to be creative and solve more problems in the world. So I get lit up, as you can tell. I'm probably talking too long, but it's just so exciting.
No, that's fine.
Just-
Completely fine. Because actually you answered my first question. Because I wanted to understand from you, like, what sparked, for you, what was the spark to get you into this? And you explained it like really, really nice way. And, like, again, welcome to the show. Um, I just want to ask you my first question, or my second question, let's say. Like, you mentioned a couple of things now, but what do you think are the, from an overview perspective, the areas that AI and automation uh, you know, can help businesses in achieving?
Mm.
Like, what are the main goals, that they can achieve using AI and automation?
Right. Such a good question. I think the biggest goal that most people come to me with is they want more mental space. They want space in their day to be able to be creative and actually do all the things that are like probably in spreadsheets in your Google Drive somewhere. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we do that through a number of ways. The number one way that we do that is we find out what is taxing you emotionally. So for most of my clients, that is the email, the inbox. If they, whether that's customer service, whether that is you work closely one on one with clients and want to give them really valuable content and feedback, whether that's reviewing things that they send you. I worked with one lady who writes resumes and cover letters. And so to be able to help her give feedback really well, those kind of things that really take a lot of emotional energy, those are the things we want to conquer first. So, um, a really specific example, I worked with a woman named Susan. She was at a nonprofit and she got emails. She was working with people that had been through a lot of trauma. So sometimes the emails were like so long,
Mm.
so exhausting, right? That she really didn't have time to even go get the donors because she wanted to serve these people well. That's why she started the nonprofit. But we were able to write what we call a prompt, how we tell ChatGPT what to do so that it could take some of the emotion out of her day. The prompt basically said, hey, review this email. Tell me, what does this person really need right now? What questions do they need answered? And what do I need to acknowledge? What should I affirm them on what they're doing? And it broke down all the emotion and gave her something where she could answer in a really tight way. So it took like a 3-hour project and turned it into
Mm-hmm.
minutes. And so it's just amazing the amount of time now she has to go get donors and serve more people. So it's really exciting to see that kind of success story. The other places I see are marketing. Marketing, you
Mm-hmm.
probably see the ads all over Facebook or wherever, LinkedIn, wherever you're at, like make your millions. But really finding, as a business coach, I don't want you chasing uh, rabbits, as we say in the US, right? You can only chase one and get it, but find out what works for you, know your numbers, So I would think your podcast just draws in new people all the time. How do you do more of that in less time or the same amount, depending on your time goals? Is it just to get more podcasts out in the same amount of time? Or is it to actually save you time each week so you can go work on those other things like the Susan did? Um, but that doing more of those. So writing blog posts, writing product descriptions, coming up with headlines. So what I love to do with business owners is look at if they're sending emails, what are your open rates? What are your click rates? Where do people fall off? When do they unsubscribe? And how do we use ChatGPT to enhance what you've already created is one place. Getting it to write your rough draft. Sometimes it's really hard. People say ChatGPT should never be your final draft. And there are times that we get outputs that I'm like, I don't know what to suggest that we change here.
Yeah.
I always say, put your human touch on it. But there are times it's like, I'm a math person, not a natural writer. I'm not a natural copywriter. But man, it there are times I'm like, I don't know how to change this. This is exactly what I wanted my heart to say to this person, or how I wanted this to come out. So
Yeah.
the opportunities are just really endless.
That's true. That's true. And just I want to, make a confession here. Maybe it's not something hidden. You mentioned, like, for me, for example, when I prepare post production of the episode,
Mhm.
so I use a software that uses AI, which is called Descript, and so Descript, it shows me, like, now we are having this conversation. So post production, it makes the life much easier because I remember which questions I have asked you, and then what were your answers. And then when I want to put an episode title and description, I go now to ChatGPT and I say, hey, like, I talked to Jeanette, this is her bio, this is the question that I have asked, this is some of the highlights, of the discussion. come up with a catchy episode title and description and social media post. And guess what? I just need to change few things post production. And people wonder, how are you able to do daily podcast? And I said, thanks to my co-producer ChatGPT, because he's my co-producer. Actually, on
Yeah.
my company website, I have put, I have the team about us. So it's me. I have a business partner, and I put it ChatGPT. I
It's
call it,
perfect.
I put it as a chief content officer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's really really amazing. But can you share also something like, what have you seen any business that completely changed because they implemented AI and automation? Have you seen something like that that you can share with us today?
I've seen um, completely changed. I guess it depends how we want to look at that, but like,
Change, and it
yeah,
means like they were like maybe almost going bankrupt, and then they were
yeah,
saved. Maybe they were able to increase customers.
yeah. So I worked with, like I mentioned, my client that wrote resumes. They were totally maxed out. So it was her. She had 3 coaches, and they were still sending a lot of. They got these hot leads, and they were sending them to another agency because they couldn't handle anymore. And so it was capping out. Their profits were based on how many hours they had, right? And she was trying to hire somebody else. And, that is not easy. The bigger your team, the harder it is to manage them all. And so we were able to go in and automate a lot of her service. So her onboarding, making sure files that were created are organized. All of that is now automated for her. Writing rough drafts, finding the keywords for those, resumes. You have to have keywords so that the machines will find the right ones. We automated a lot of that. It is amazing. And now she's able to keep all of those clients. It has, like, I think her revenue, yeah, it increased by 57%.
Wow.
Same amount of staff. So, like, that just blows my mind. So she was an amazing systems person, but she had no idea how well the automation and then enhanced with AI could really just blow up the system she already had, into really amazing efficiencies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really really like something. Say a real example. So, like, if someone today is listening to us or watching us, and still they are hesitant about, using AI and
Mhm.
automation, what advice would you give them?
I would advise them to go over to OpenAI and set up an account, uh, and go into ChatGPT and talk to it like an assistant. Um, Ask it, tell it like it's an assistant on its first day. Answer this email. I want to sound, for me, I'm a coach through and through. I'm an educator, teacher. I always want to sound encouraging, and I always want to sound and set an example of good boundaries. I tell it that, right? Like, these are things I want to make sure that and answer this email for me in that way. If there's some details, you can give it the details, but you don't have to. Treat it like an assistant and see what it comes up with. And if you're still hesitant, take a look and think, hey, can you make me a meal plan? I've had people start with that, and it gets them thinking, ooh, maybe it could help me in my business as well. Make me a meal plan, make me a grocery list. Like, I have, I'm looking to have more energy in my day. Have it go in and you talk to it as if it's an assistant. I'll notice myself, because it does respond as if it's a human. I'll find myself using my pleases and thank yous with it. It does feel very conversational. So if you've never gone in, just go in. Hey, will you please help me write an email? And the one thing I tell people who are brand new, ask it to ask me questions one at a time until you have enough information to do this.
Yeah,
Um, that's a really great prompt to do. If you've never tried it, there's these big doom dazers. I don't know what we call them, but really looking at the negative part of this, right now, ChatGPT is only spitting out what it has learned. It is not progressively
correct.
learning yet. So, when it's saying, oh, I'm going to take over the world by doing this, it is probably talking about the movie Terminator or other stories that have been out there. It is actually pulling the information from what's actually online. it has not learned and thought about this. Now, as we go forward, that may change, but I'm not super concerned about that. I'm more concerned about small businesses being left behind because other people are able to serve more clients in less time. And as the competition gets wind of that, don't get left behind.
Yeah.
Use the tools that are available. This is free or low cost. For most of my clients, all they do is Zapier, which is what, $35 a month, and a little bit of pennies to OpenAI to use their API. I mean, it's less than $50 a month for people to really increase their revenue.
100%. And advice to people who are listening to us, in addition to what you said, Jeanette, is look, like things like OpenAI and automation. I mean, it's not a hype. Big companies did the mistake, when smartphones came and they said no, like it's just a
Mhm.
hype. But now the it's not like a smartphone kind of revolution. It's kind of how we do businesses. And as you said, if we don't implement it now, maybe 2 months later, I mean, after, it will be very late to start to implement because someone else have taken over you. And thank you for mentioning Zapier and the other automation tools. Actually, for people who are watching the first time or listening the first time, I have like some episodes where I talk about the power of merging AI plus
Mhm.
automation. And even you can build, by the way, guys, you can build your own SaaS if you want, using these tools like no code, AI, and all these things. Um, Very good points, I would say, Janet. Now, from trends perspective, like, are you seeing any specific trends about the use of AI and automation in business?
Um, what I'm seeing is the trends are people are doing more with less employees. So,
Hmm.
and the biggest thing I'm seeing in business, and it really gave me a lens working with somebody who's creating resumes, is looking at those job descriptions. People are looking for people with experience. Have you
Hmm.
used GPT? Are you familiar with OpenAI? Have you used Bing or, several of the other things? They're actually looking for people that know it. So will it replace your job? I don't believe so, but will somebody who knows how to use it replace your job? Maybe. Um, and as you go to hire as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, you probably want to make sure you're hiring somebody who's familiar with it as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Actually, I've seen a tweet the other day, like the people who says that the AI will let people lose their jobs are actually the people who are gonna lose their jobs because they don't have anything other than nagging instead of going and learning how to use the tool. And one thing, because also I want to, you touched base on it, is the prompt. Um, I want to advise people, like, of course, prompt is important, but don't be scared to
Mhm.
experiment, because by the time you will start to get to use how to talk to chat GPT. And actually, now I think there are a lot of websites where people, they put, these how you should talk, to the AI. I can advise. I'm not affiliated, guys, with them, but it's a paid service. If you go to Jasper.ai, so Jasper, now they have something that can enhance your prompt. So instead of saying write me a blog post about digital marketing, so it will go and tell you should tell ChatGPT, you are an experienced blogger with 10 years experience. Give me a post that can go blah 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 blah. So yeah, like using the prompt is very, very important. Do you see, Janet, any intersection of AI and other emerging technologies impacting businesses in the future?
Emerging technologies. Yes, just with the ability to communicate quickly with people. It's been amazing to see how people are taking a look at how these automations can happen and to what level they can go. So even just going in, and if you're familiar with just a tiny bit of code, you can go in and tell ChatGPT a goal, and it will figure out the steps it needs to go into it. And I think
Mm,
people integrate that into their businesses and into other technologies. Um, in really amazing ways. Hey, backlog my content creation, or backlog, some of those things are pretty cool. As far as emerging technologies, though, I love the question. Um, I feel like the AI is the emerging technology. So I'm
It
getting
is. It
stumped on the
it is.
question.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Um, you touched on something important, which again, I covered in a couple of episodes again, which is exactly the same thing. There's these bots that can go and do the figure it out, as you said, like Auto GPT is one of the famous ones. There's another one called Baby AGI. It's been quite some time. I didn't go check if any new thing came out, honestly. But these two, like you say, for example, I need to open a new business, go figure out, do the market research, figure out like what resources I would need. And then once you're done, come back, put them into a document and, let's take it from there. So yeah, like this is something I've seen it also. We gave example and you gave examples, Janet, about like content creation and little bit maybe helping in digital marketing. But are you seeing also AI and automation influencing some other parts like customer service and maybe anything that requires interaction with customers?
Yeah, like as far as chatbots are really becoming popular because you can train them on all of your information. Um, as far as interacting with them, I'm seeing standard operating procedures, it's the way you onboard, the way you interact with clients as they're being brought into possibly like an agency has just been enhanced, in the level of personalization and attention that you can give them in the same amount of time or even less time is so much better. Um, I love the book, Never Lose a Customer Again.
Hmm.
Is such a good book about how to onboard and make people feel like they're a part of your mission, and being able to integrate the strategies in that book with the automation and with the AI customization. It's just been amazing to do with
Hmm.
clients. That has been really, really fun to have the business owners be creative and go, I wish I could do that. And then I take it and we can figure out how to use AI and how to use the automations to make all of that happen without adding time to their team or to the owner has been really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. While preparing for today's episode, like I've seen like you talked about how AI generated content can indeed have like should have personal touch. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So you talked about the prompt, or how we talk about how we talk to ChatGPT. I always like it to see an example. You can always type out the word example with a colon and just put an example of your writing.
Hmm.
But I also like to have situations that are personal to you. Have Sometimes I have people create spreadsheets and they will have like the topic, but then there's certain things that will make it personal. What is one story or one client you worked with? What are the benefits they got? Because now we can automate that with ChatGPT. So it will have real stories of your clients and your stories, maybe your children, whatever your niche is, that it's important that people feel connected to you. We're really able to personalize that. And then personalizing it to your voice. So I always like to have a spot um, for tone, emotion, and voice. Tone, how you want to sound. Emotion, how do you want the reader or
Hmm.
whoever's listening to feel in that voice? Are you funny? Are you authority?
Yes.
Want to be professional? Do you want to be casual? It can really personalize those outputs in really fun ways. I saw one that was really humorous. Like, hey, I want it to be very funny. This is going on Facebook. I want it to catch people's attention. Um, really, it's a lot of fun to start playing with those. If you think about it, ooh, the tone, the emotion, the voice, and you go in, just play with all those adjectives that you already, just pull up a list. If your creativity fails you, it's a lot of fun to see how it changes the output.
That's right. I tried it a couple of times. It's really funny to try all these tones and voices, as you said. Like really, it's fun. Um, like, what are some other misconceptions about AI that you have seen, in while working with customers?
Yeah, people who are hesitant sometimes think that it will remember everything about you. Each new chat is a brand new slate, so it will not remember some of the other things. The other thing I hear a lot is it'll sound robotic. Everyone will know. Everyone will know that AI wrote this. And even the AI detectors are wrong. Um, about 30 to 50% of the time. They're figuring that out. One professor ran through a bunch of essays at the end of the semester in the winter, right when all this was brand new, and tried to fail half the class. Come to
Yeah,
find out, they did not even know about this it was only 3 months old. Um, the AI detector was wrong. So, it's very interesting because right now Google can't tell what's AI created and what's not. And a lot of the humans cannot tell. Now, if you don't give it a tone, emotion, and voice, a lot of them can sound alike. So that's why, and so possibly, but really, if you do your homework and you personalize it, it doesn't sound that way. And then the other misconception I get is I don't know how to get started. It must be really complex. I keep seeing online that these prompts have to have all this stuff. Um, Mama, I thought you addressed that really well. Go in, see what it says, and then maybe say, rewrite it with this. Or it is the assistant that never ever gets tired or irritated or snappy. It will always say, absolutely, I'm happy to help. And it will do it. So if you think, ooh, write this email. Oh, I wish I would have told them that I have a meeting on Tuesday. Rewrite it. Remind the client that we have a meeting on Tuesday at 9 a.m. It's no big deal. So what I like to remind people, they're like, it's going to be really hard to learn. It's not hard to
no,
learn, and it never gets irritated, and it never gets mad, and right, like, yeah.
yeah, and it's very polite, by the way, because sometimes if it does a mistake, oh, sorry, like I didn't mean this, I meant this. Oh, sorry. Just on that point regarding, like people will know that it's AI, guys. Like there is a profession, and maybe in the West it's more spread. There's a profession called ghostwriter. Some people go and hire someone to write their books. They hire someone to manage their social media accounts. So, would they sound that someone else is writing for them? Okay. I can bet you not everyone knows that this book actually was written by someone else whose name is a ghostwriter, right? So think about it this way. ChatGPT is your ghostwriter, is your content creation assistant, as you said, Jeanette. And yeah, like there's no shame. Okay, I will give you a hint, but don't do anything bad with it. If if you want to do a mix, I can advise you something. It works very well. Use two AI tools and let one generate the content and go to the other and say, rewrite this. Simple. It will give you really good results. I tried a couple of times. I have, I think everyone now has access to Bard from Google. Although, like, still, and I'm not biased, I'm not affiliated with anyone, but still, I believe ChatGPT is much way better at the time. Today is like we are recording on the 20th of June, by the way. So in this moment, still ChatGPT better than Bard in multiple things. Maybe in coding, yeah, I've seen Google, they did good job in coding stuff. Although like ChatGPT is also good. But I mean, from content perspective, still ChatGPT. And if you have access to 4, not 3.5, there is the magic, I would say, right? So yeah, like it's something that I advise people to not hesitate to use AI. It's not a shame to use AI. And remember one thing, it's a tool. And is it a shame to use the phone instead of going to someone? No. Is it a shame to use a car to reach a place instead of walking? Of course, no. And it's no shame of using, I would say, any technology, including AI, to do our jobs. Now, um, so how do you handle resistance usually from businesses when adopting automation, AI?
Yeah, so some people are really resistant. Um, they feel like you spoke on this, like it's almost cheating. Like, how can it possibly be this easy? Um, the best way that I can think of to help them that I've seen in workshops, like I run an intro just to get people in it, is
Hmm.
you have to be super creative. You have to do the problem solving with the prompts. You write the prompts. You tell it what to do. That is your content, just like an employee or an assistant. So when I say go in and tell it like it's an assistant, I mean that. It is your assistant. Um, and usually once people realize how much they put into creating the prompt and getting the output they actually want, they realize it's not cheating. It's just a different type of work,
Hmm.
different type of work that allows them to be creative and do that without spending the hours actually crafting the result. Um, and so once they see that their creativity's still there, it's just in a different spot per se, um, then they're like, okay, now I get how this isn't cheating. I've actually had to come in, think about what I need, think about what I want, give it some ideas. Are there some things you can do, without all that work? Absolutely.
Hmm.
But as you move into your business and really dive deep into it, you'll realize it allows you to spend more time with that creativity and less with, you know, like I said, I'm a math person. So writing to me is the grunt work. That's the hard stuff. But I get to spend a lot more time being creative, thinking through what opportunities are there for my business and for my customers' businesses. And that's a sweet spot. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, great. So let's say I'm your customer, right? So, and I
Mhm.
agreed, I am convinced, I would go with your advice of implementing AI. So, of course, we can go on hours discussing, but on a
Yeah.
high level, what are, the steps a company should take when they would decide to implement AI in their operations? So where we start?
We start by looking at your systems that you already use in your business. And then we also look and I would, depending on if you have more than one employee, I would like a survey of them as well. Where are you spending your time? Where do you feel like you're doing repetitive tasks?
Mhm.
Or sending a customized welcome email every day, to every new client. Things like we're going to look for patterns where you're doing repetitive work or where your employees are doing repetitive work. We're also going to look at your systems and say, okay, what are you manually doing in each of these? We're going to calculate that time savings. So think about how much time are you spending on that system or how much time are you spending with these repetitive tasks that are slightly different just by client. Those are great spots to start your AI is how can I, for example, I worked with one business and they help their clients write pitches to get onto podcasts like this. So we were able to write, and they want to give custom feedback. So we are able to write a prompt to get that feedback, put the Google Doc in because they have the paid chat GPT-4. They can use the plugins. It can read the Google Doc
Mm.
and then craft a very nice email that we've given examples to. And now they're able to give more feedback. They don't limit now. Their clients were allowed to send in like 3 a month. Well, now they don't even have to limit them. They can get as much feedback as they want. The value of their product is higher and they're spending less time giving that feedback. So looking for those spots, if you're a company and you're like, ooh, how do I use this? Where are you doing those repetitive tasks? That's one example. The other one is I get new clients and I'm copying files and sending them a customized email with those files. That was one I
Yes.
set up. Man, just copying the files, that's an automation we can set up. And that's where it's enhanced by AI, right? Sending a customized email with it based on that sales call with a few details in a spreadsheet. It's like, now it's all done. It's ready.
Mhm.
And the client's happier because they're getting their files even faster.
Yep.
And the, the coaches are happy because they're not having to sit and rename files every, like who wants to do that kind of work? If you want to retain the best people that are problem solvers and excited to dive in to your company and help it grow, the last thing you want them doing is copying files or redundant work, right? And so that's the kind of thing that you want to look for right away. Help save time, save money, but the retention is where that's another huge benefit. Really retaining problem solver, good employees for your small business. It's really important.
That's true. And this is why I always mention as well, don't be scared of the tool, actually, because always there'll be someone who, as you mentioned, who can spot these repetitions, who can say, hey, like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm doing this 7 times a day. Can I reduce it to 1 time? Right? Or
Yes.
I have this template that I'm doing it, and what do you suggest me to do to reduce the time or reduce, the cost? Which is, like, I never saw something that can have short ROI as ChatGPT, because, right? You agree with me, Janet?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's very fast to get the ROI, and it's not very expensive, guys. Like, like, it's very it's very affordable, I would say. I should say this, especially if you go with the plugin thing that you mentioned. Now, like, from let's have like little bit kind of uh futuristic view. Like, what's your vision of the future of AI in the business world? Like, where do you think it would take us? Like, okay, we have this now, it's doing a lot of things, but how do you imagine the future will be like?
I think it'll be the standard tool, just like Gmail. Like it will be just a part of your day-to-day work. Uh, whether, you think of the things that we have right now that everybody seems to use, whether it's Calendly, whether it's Gmail,
Mm,
I think Chat GPT will be that tool. It'll be the tool that everyone knows how to use. It will be expected and it'll be there. I do expect AI policies to pop up so that you know as a customer what to expect as you go into things. And you may consider creating an AI policy for your small business, as an entrepreneur or your growing business. Because, boy, if you're not using it as the owner, and you have employees, there is a very good chance that your employees are using it. And so being aware of that is really important, and that you're aware of what your employees are doing as well is really important. But I see it being the streamline. It's what people expect. It's what people do. I see it being just a built-in tool that will be part of your everyday thing. When you log into your website and you start writing the blog post, I expect it to be there. And some of the software is already doing that, right? It just, most people aren't using it efficiently yet. When you go into Gmail, can it answer your emails right there without copying and pasting? Yes, the tools are popping up. There are some caution things in there. Be very careful that you do your homework on plugins because you're giving them access to every site you go to. Um, that includes bank accounts and so forth. So, there are some cautionary tales there. Do your homework, but the tools are out there, but I think it will be very quickly the mainstream, kind of like the
yeah.
cell phone, right? It started as the little clip it on your hip and you'd hear the walkie talkies, as you walk through the streets.
Yeah.
Um, and then instantly everybody had one, right? And it was no longer needed to be a walkie talkie. It just was the norm. Um, and my dad's a construction worker and that's who I knew. So everybody had the yellow cell phones in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And it's just everywhere. I really think that this will become the norm. And if you can get started now, and if you can understand the opportunities now, you're going to be ahead of that curve and feel really empowered to use it to the maximum ability.
Yeah.
Out.
Do you think like because I have my own theory like AI
Mhm.
would allow us to make the famous 4 hours week
Ooh, yes,
a reality. Do you agree with me?
I do. I think it's just amazing the time savings I see now with what it can do now, and we're in infancy of this development, right? I mean, we're 9 months in of it being 9, 10 months in of it being public
Right.
and free and accessible. I mean, it's been around much longer than that, and I understand that, but I think that the accessibility is just amazing. But it's new, and you just look at 3.5. You already said this to 4.0 in Chat GPT. The output is just night and day, almost like the improvement. And I was already impressed with the free
Yeah.
version, right? Like,
Yeah.
and the paid version is just like, wow. I do. The time savings is just phenomenal. And I think it will make that 4-hour work week very possible,
Yeah.
especially for people who just grab it and look for the opportunities because they're there. They're everywhere.
100%. 100%. I'm kind of a guy who's skeptical a little bit when something new comes. And I remember it was, it came end of November, beginning of December that time.
Mhm.
I mean, when it became public, at least in our region here. And, like I said, let me give it a try. And, like the more I started to try, I said, this is a moment. Like, this is a moment which is not like
Mhm.
any other moment. Uh, it's making things much easier. It's making things much simpler. It's saving people's time. And guys, yeah, like if something a machine can do it, don't be scared to let the machine do it because you know what? You will be the one who's operating this machine. So don't be scared of AI. I'm repeating this on the show.
Mhm.
It will not replace your job as long as you don't want to learn something new. So you need to unlearn and relearn new skills. And like we discussed this several times on the show. Now, Janet, as we came to the end, I have a very famous question. And the question is, what's the question you wished I asked you and how you would answer it?
Ooh, gosh, I got so caught up in the conversation, I forgot that was coming. The pardon me. Um, the question that I wish you would ask me is,
Could be anything.
I know how fun is maybe what motivates me.
Yep.
Um, what motivates me is seeing how we can allow entrepreneurs to help more people with this.
Yeah.
Like the amount of time saved writing emails and scheduling things and writing blog posts, it's just going to open up more opportunity for people to serve their clients, it to serve their families, right? Like how many entrepreneurs are working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week and their son's downstairs, right? It's like, okay, I'm so excited to see how this changes the world as it moves, as it ripples out. People like the nonprofit I work for, she can serve so many more people now. And she is so excited to do it. And she's not wore out at the end of the day when she goes home to her family because she feels like she's done what she's been called to do. So I
Yeah.
just so excited to see the ripples of this and how it affects humanity. People are like the machine, the machine. And I'm like, yeah, but people can help so many more people now. And that's what it's
Right.
all about.
Right. Right. And it's very deep, I would say. Because guys, maybe you would share that with me because we are in this business and we are in the startup worlds and that moment when you solve a problem that like for example I have this I work as a consultant so if something I've seen the customer forget about AI he or she used to spend I don't know like 10 hours to do it and then I can offer a solution that can do it in 30 minutes like for me it's like yes this is the moment right like because
Mhm.
first I freed their time they can go okay, they don't need to work on something else. They can just go and chill out. And I think this is what the AI would do. You know, like, the boss doesn't need to call you and say, hey, have you finished all these reports? Hey, no, boss. AI is doing that for me. I need to focus on something more important. So yeah, like I
Right.
think you're 100% right on this, Janet. Well, so we came up to the end of our episode today. I would love to thank you very much for being a guest with me today. And I hope that the people who are watching this episode have benefited out of it. If you are listening using your favorite podcasting platform, you can see also here, you can follow us. And as usual, if you have any questions, any feedback, by the way, Jared, I would share your website as well. So for people who are interested in, your services and offers, so I would put that in the episode description. And if you have questions, if you have feedback, if you have ideas you want to share with us, if you have used AI in certain ways that we didn't discuss today, I would love to hear them. And even if you want to be a guest with me, I would love to listen to your stories using AI. I have a lot. I can tell you, I can go hours and hours. So, like as I always say, we will be having more discussions about AI and other emerging technologies. And if you would like to be a guest, you can also reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter. You can find my email is also available on um, uh, the episode of each description of each episode. Sorry. And until we meet in the next episode, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.